Yes, yes, yes. Oh. Spitfire's gonna die of fire. It's not.
Oh my god, that fire is strong.
Hey, go.
Oh my god, oh my god.
Come.
No problem, no problem.
Somebody else.
Fire. No problem. Go push, come. Medkit.
I don't know why it does that.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh, ban it. I medkit, no problem.
Medkit. You're dead, man. You're dead. Run. You're dead, man.
Hey, Spitfire! Hey, why you dying?
Easy, bro.
It's beautiful the way you guys burn together.
Oh, amigo, fuck.
You need to have more armor, man.
That's it.
Why so easy, huh?
Oh my god, this guy is so laggy.
Come.
No problem.
Your diamond doing.
Easy. Easy. Hey everyone, what's going on? It's about time I bring you guys another build video. Hope you guys enjoyed the gameplay at the beginning. That was gameplay I got about a month ago before the Memento nerf, but I included the final clip there. Was me coming out of the door without any stacks to show you that this build does work without stacks. I stated in my gameplay video of this build before I finished it and optimized it that it is one that is not reliant upon Memento stacks. Many builds were made by many people that relied on stacks. Bro, we're gonna go farm my landmark or two before I can PvP. With this build, it was more like I would just go straight in PvP, kill any NPCs along the way in a dark zone, and then if I died, spawn safe from, and then build them up slowly over the course of a fight. The same thing is true now to an extent. Of course, you can't spawn save from to preserve any stacks. It doesn't do that anymore. But today, I thought I'd go into the dark zone and give it a go, see if it was still good, because I refuse to bring you guys a build that I have not tested, especially when I made it a while back now, a few weeks ago, and there was a significant change that does affect this build. But it still works, man. It still works. And if you guys want to see any more up-to-date gameplay with this build, post Memento nerf, follow me on Twitch. I've been streaming a little more on Twitch recently. I just got myself a new monitor. Haven't streamed for the past few days, but I'm getting everything back in order, and I'll be streaming again very soon. And yeah, if you want to see me, I will likely bring this build out during the session. It's one of my most favorite builds to date that I've ever made, you know, purely myself. I say purely myself, it's kind of an adaptation, sort of an evolved build from something my friend made, Trick. He's a fantastic build maker, but this is a fire focused build. It is my build. Alright, so let's get into it. So this is my PYRO tank hybrid, as you can see right here. Capacitor main weapon, the Grudge, named Vindictive secondary. This will help your team and top your crit chance and crit damage up. And of course, the card coming with the extra skill tier. I'm not running max skill tier, so it's really good to have something like this. And of course, the talent of choice will be Perpetuation. One headshot will increase your duration and damage of that status effect. So often what you want to do is you want to take some damage, pop a medkit. I am using Fireball and Efficient, so your medkit is going to be really strong. For 10 seconds you are going to be practically invincible, providing you're not being shot by, you know, full glass cannon, right, or like 5 players, and if your movement is good. Alright, well, if your movement's bad, you're going to get beamed regardless. So if you've got good movement, alright, high armor, efficient medkit, you're going to be able to strafe and run out into the open, draw aggro, take incoming fire, and then all you want to do is find the one target that is standing or is the easiest or the biggest head, the nearest player, whatever, and get that headshot. Alright, then what you want to do is you want to pull out your burn sticky. If they're standing still or if they're about to shoot you, I recommend just using your fire chem. Whichever one of these you feel most comfortable with landing with that perpetuation is really where the key is. You're going to burn them for a very long time. The burn damage is going to be quite strong, but the way to increase that burn damage would be to, upon inflicting that status effect, consuming your perpetuation, swap off of your pistol to your primary, not just because it is the best gun for actually dealing damage, but it actually comes with damage to armor. So this capacitor, named exotic, or just exotic, is the only AR that comes with damage to armor. And I feel like the devs put that there for a very specific reason, and that is it increases your skill damage and your status effect damage by the corresponding amount, 12%. Of course, we still have health damage, but it's now been put on the third attribute as opposed to the core attribute. Bit weird there from the devs, but honestly, who cares? What really makes this gun special is, well, the skill damage you get. 60% skill damage after landing an entire magazine of this gun. Really strong. Alright, the only problem with that is I am swapping guns a lot, so I don't often have this max stack. But for the times where you've already exhausted your initial 2 chems or 1 burn sticky, and you're wearing people down, and you know it's time to shoot your gun and you're shooting people down, yeah, you're going to build up a stack, and if you do have another burn sticky coming back, you are going to deal with that increased status effect, increased skill damage from the explosion. And of course, don't forget, you get 7.5% weapon damage for each yellowed core, of which I have 2. That's 15% damage. It's like having an additional red. This is basically a 2-5-2 build. So if I was running Technician, I would even have 2-5-3 or 2.5-5-3. It's really, trust me guys, this is a really good gun. If you haven't got it yet, you need to get it from Summit. I think you do need to do the some of the challenges in Summit. Don't quote me, just go on YouTube and type in how to get capacitor. Alright, if you haven't got it, definitely get it. For the secondary, of course, the Grudge, when you down and kill a player with a status effect, they have to be still under that status effect if they are down. If not, you will not get the proc. It's really annoying. I wish the devs would change this and have it so that you get it upon down or on kill, either or. So you could down a guy, set him on fire, and then finish him off with a Grudge. That should work, but it's really awkward. You have to down and kill, so bear that in mind. But when you do, you're going to give you and your teammates within 20 meters 18 crit chance and 18 crit damage for 20 seconds, even if you swap off this gun. A lot of talents do not work when you swap off of that particular weapon, but for this one, because it is a sort of a team-wide buff, it does work when you swap off of it. So this is really good. You know, you use your perpetuation, you get your proc, you get the guy on fire, you finish him off with your AR, or you finish him off with your Grudge. If you finish him off with your Grudge, you then have, if we look at our stats, 60 crit chance with the capacitor and 141 crit damage. That is very competitive for a hybrid tank skill status effect build, right? It's very competitive. You will be able to trade gunfights with, you know, damage players if you have the aim. If you don't have the aim, then you're going to maybe need to rely on your fire or take damage, pop a make it, go back in a fight, or if you have a trophy hanging around, use that trophy for that extra bonus armor. So, moving on. What pieces do you want and what pieces do you not want? I went for Fenris and Cheska to get as much of the weapon damage and crit chance. It is a hybrid, so you definitely want to have a Fenris. In most builds, you know, you want to have a Fenris if you are using an assault rifle. The argument can actually be made with really high red builds, like 6 red glass cannon, to not run the Fenris. I know it might seem a bit crazy, but this is additive damage. This adds to your red cores, so the more red cores you have, you get diminishing returns. But because this is only a 1 red build, having the Fenris is important. So definitely get one in there. The Chesko is really good for crit chance. Again, this is not a crit focused build, but it uses crit to gain some of the damage, and you do have many attributes available when you go high end as opposed to gear set. And so these two are ideal. The first two, you know, brand sets that you want to look at for increasing your weapon damage are going to be Fenris and Cheska. But this isn't just a damage build, it is a hybrid. What else do you want to spec for? And that is status effects. That is on the one Golan, and every single one of my yellow rolls here. That is status effects, status effects, status effects, status effects, and I would love to have, you know, status effects here and not hazard protection and put the crit chance there. That way I could have status effects everywhere and essentially have what would be a rainbow roll build. You know, it's really great when you kill people with this build and they look at it and just like, what the fuck? Blue, red, yellow, red, red, blue, yellow, yellow, like what the fuck? What are you doing? And then they kind of feel a bit shit. Like they died to something like this, but it is a really good build. But it does require a certain play style, and of course, nothing stops them from bringing out Hasbro build. So, yes, Hasbro is the, of course, obvious counter. If people start bringing out Hasbro, you've done your job. It's time for you to swap builds, but you will want to bring this build out for some point during a PvP session or a server. A lot of what makes you a good PvP player is having builds and knowing when to switch them against certain players. But yeah, status effects everywhere and every piece, that's what you want. And of course I have crit damage where I can fit it, of course. I have crit damage on there, crit damage on the gloves, crit damage on the knee pads, and on the holster, of course. You do want to get crit damage in as many places. Remember, you do get 30 crit damage on your gun, so you do get 123. It is quite a lot for a hybrid build. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much my attributes right there. Why Memento? You might be thinking, oh, well, you're running a pyro build. Why not run the fire holster? Well, I think you could. But again, you don't really want hazard protection. And by going with a fire holster, while you do gain an additional source of fire, it is a source of fire you cannot control. And often what happens with a fire holster is you are shooting a player and you've just downed him. But because you, of course, if you just downed him, you've been shooting at him for a moment, probably for about 4 or 5 seconds, at which point he's been set on fire already. Or you down a guy really quickly and then he still gets set on fire even though he's on fire, or if he's down and he's already out of the fight. So, you know, for a 35-second cooldown, it often goes to waste, which means you get it back in an additional 35 seconds, so you know, often you don't actually benefit. And plus, you get the skill tier from Memento anyway. You get bonus armor on kill for Memento. You get bonus weapon damage. 10% skill efficiency when you pick up that trophy. And if you do go on a bit of a tear, right, even if you're solo or if you're in a team, if you did even manage to squeeze a landmark in there, right, you could be looking at 15-20 stacks. You're going to get an additional 2% armor regen at 20 stacks. That's going to put your armor regen, yeah, from 33 to 66k. That's a lot of armor regen when you consider the fact that you have so tanky and you can pop what is essentially endless medkits. Don't forget that. You can pop medkits for an eternity because you are going to be running the perfect efficient chest piece, which is attainable in the open world. This essentially multiplies your medkit count by 4. Not actually, but on average it will do. Alright? If every 4 medkits you consume, 3 of them get returned back to you, you've only consumed 1, alright? You consumed 1, but you used 4. It's 4x medkits. Sometimes you've got 1, and you get 5 or 6 out of it. Sometimes you've got 4, you only get 4. It is RNG after all, so don't complain when you don't get your medkits back. It's RNG. And RNG will either fuck you or bless you. Moving on, you do get the armor regen on there, and you do get the armor regen on the second Golan. Why not Murakami, you may be wondering? Well, the skill duration doesn't actually affect anything. It doesn't affect your status effects. It only affects the time that the cloud of chem stays on the floor, or the actual primer for the sticky bomb stays in a given place. That isn't very useful, and not only do you lose a brand set piece, but you also lose an attribute for the armor regen. It really isn't that good a piece when you consider all things, right? And in a hybrid build, when you're trying to squeeze in as many things as possible, wasting them on useless brand sets and dead attributes is just not a way to go about things. So really and truly, you can forego the Murakami and just deal with 2% base armor regen, and you're fine. Really, you don't really need the armor regen. You have a fireball medkit and perfect efficient. You are okay when it comes to survivability. Let's take a look at the mods on the chem launcher. I use burn strength because it does show that it increases burn duration on the stat sheet. Whereas the damage, as I've been recommended by people to use on high skill tier builds, you only get damage on the initial explosion, which isn't that high on a 2 skill tier build. You can't benefit from the card with the fire chem because when you pull out the fire chem you lose the skill tier. When you fire it, it's already been determined by your skill tier at the time, and it doesn't upgrade like other skills because it isn't actually a skill object. The cloud is, you know, determined when it's fired. So I do think a little extra 0.2, 0.3 there that it's telling me is much better here. The longer you keep a guy burning, the more time you can spend focusing the second or third player. This is great for going 1v4, 1v5. I did it earlier today to test whether my build was still up to scratch with today's post Memento nerf. It is up to scratch. I was solo manhunt rank something 8. I was taking everybody around a DZ, turn and burn, weaken them all. And because I keep running, the people that want to keep engaging with me keep following me despite being on half or a third or a quarter armor. They really shouldn't do this, but hey, Division players are not the smartest gamers. They really are not. They're not smart and they're not good. Only a select few groups of players are, right? And you want to take advantage of that with a build like this. Medkit and run, turn and burn, literally, and finish off, bonus armor, extra crit, don't forget your perpetuation. So many aspects of this build. It is a really fun build to play, and as good as it is solo, the moment you add one teammate into the mix, this build does become that much better. You're going to want to call out every time you're going to set a guy on fire. Yo, I'm setting this guy here, call out his name, he's been set on fire. Your teammate and yourself will be ready to focus fire that guy, and if he gets from the corner and medkits, that's fine. You've put one guy out the fight. Focus on the next guy. Alright, I'm setting this one, burn sticky, let's go, boom. He staggers, your teammate shoots him while he's staggering, he's on fire, oh shit, he's dead. Hopefully you get the final hit on that, get your Memento proc, then you can run over that, get a bunch of bonus armor, tank the living shit out of everyone, carry on to the next fight. Really, man, this build is so fun. You've seen it in the intro, and if you haven't seen my gameplay video of this, I did post about 3-4 weeks ago. Link will be up there on screen right now and in the description down below, so please check that out. For the burn sticky mod, I put skill haste on. Duration doesn't work with the status effect, so just go with skill haste. And for here, you could go burn duration or damage. It doesn't really matter. I have damage because I think it works just fine. But if you want to use burn duration, that's absolutely fine. So, I've covered it all, have I not? If I've missed anything, God, please butcher me in the comment section. I haven't done a build video for quite a while. It's about time I bring you guys another one. So, here it is, and I have another one coming for you very soon. But yeah, that will do for now. Cheers guys for watching, and in a bit, like the video. Subscribe if you ain't seen my content before. If you're into PvP and you ain't subscribed to me, what the fuck are you doing? What are you doing? And if you want to see me live on Twitch, I've been streaming live on Twitch fairly recently, a little bit more so. I just got my new monitor. Haven't done it for a few days, but we'll be getting back onto it. Got my new monitor arm this morning, and I was actually laying in bed when I went in that solo manhunt against that whole server earlier today. That is post Memento nerf. This build does not need Memento stacks. I'm telling you, it's a fact. Alright, it's a fact. Cool. In a bit.